What's up, everybody? Welcome to Investing Bros. My name is Tim. You're gonna notice I'm not sitting in front of a computer screen right now. The good news is we're not gonna be doing some charts today, but the good news is that there's not a lot of change there. There's mostly we bounced off support level for Bitcoin. We're back above 37,000, but as a whole, we're kind of moving a little sideways right now. The reason I'm not shooting in front of a screen is because of my son Brody. But I want to let you know before I tell you about Brody. We're going to talk about mistakes today. We're going to talk about avoiding some pretty critical mistakes. But the reason I'm not shooting in front of my computer screen is my son Brody, who is 6 months old, who has been such a good sleeper through the night, decided last night that it was not time to sleep. It was time to play. Didn't cry. He wasn't a crier. He just wanted to play between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. Did not sleep at all. I'm on my way to work now. Brody had himself a great night. I've heard it's normal. I don't know if any of you guys went through this with your kids. I've heard 6 months they go through like a sleep regression. He's learning, he's crawling now. He's sitting up. I think he's like focusing on those skills. We just started feeding him some solid food. So I think the dude is getting a little insomnia, and he's thinking about those skills. He wants to practice them in the middle of the night. Hopefully that doesn't continue on. But we're not here to talk about Brody, as fun as he is, and he might be the best thing about my life. We're here to talk about crypto, and I want to talk to you guys about some mistakes that I really want to urge you guys to avoid. It's not financial advice. If you want to do this, go for it. I just want to urge you to think twice before doing it. And the number one mistake I would urge you guys to avoid would be trading with a large portion of your portfolio. What do I mean by that? A lot of people are tempted. They're looking for places to take profit right now. Some people are talking about 40K, some people are talking about 45, 50K. They're looking for a place that they can take some massive profit, maybe, double, maybe some of their crypto, the altcoins, maybe triple some of their coins. Like maybe they'll just have drastic drops. And don't get me wrong, I do think a dip is coming. But here's the problem. What if the dip does not come? What if you take profit at 40K and then the price just shoots up to 55? And then it hesitates and it drops back down to like 45. You're like, okay, well, I didn't get the top, but all right, here we go. We're going to, and then it bounces to 45K and then it shoots up to 68. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying, what if that happens? And this is a super cycle. A lot of people, you're thinking is like, hey, if I take profit at 40 and we drop to 30, let's say I had one Bitcoin, I could turn one Bitcoin into 1.25 Bitcoin. And that's a beautiful scenario. And if that works out for you, that's great. That's phenomenal. But if you trade a hefty portion, let's say you went in all in, or even 90% in, you take profit, and you take profit at 40K, and then the price does what I just said, and by the time you realize, I got to buy back in, you buy back in at 60K, 70K, and now rather than having one whole Bitcoin, you have half. You have like 0.6 Bitcoin, 0.7 Bitcoin. How long are you in the game for? Are you just trying to make some money this month? Are you about to buy a boat? Are you about to buy a car? Are you trying to make it quick? Or are you in this for the long game? Do you want to take profit at 40K or do you want to take profit at 200K? Because at this point, with the institutional adoption coming in, guys, I have a very good feeling this is going to be an explosive bull market. I think 100K, you don't want to get crazy with it, but I'm pretty close to saying 100K is a safe bet at this point. 150 is still probably the safe play of saying the expectation is 150K, but guys, I would not be surprised if we get over $200,000. And that's just Bitcoin. When you talk about altcoins, I'm not going to be surprised to see some of these altcoins, even top 20 altcoins, even from where the price is right now, still do something like a 20x. But if you take profit now and everything shoots up and you buy back in later, now you're talking about maybe a 5x. You'll still make money, by the way, guys. Guess what? If you make the mistake and you buy back in at that $70,000, you'll still double your money. If you buy altcoins back in when they're up another 200% from now, you'll still make money. They're going to have some nice rallies. But that's a temptation I see way too frequently, is people wanting to trade with a large portion of the portfolio, they're constantly looking for places to take profit, and then they're buying lower. That's not the game. Be buying and stacking long term. If your average buy-in right now is still like right where we are right now, that's fine. That's going to be fine. Anytime you see a dip in price, buy some more if you can. If we do get a 30, 40, 50% dip, if we do see Bitcoin back below $30,000, if we see the likes of like Cardano back at 24 cents and Ethereum back at 1,300 and Solana back towards I'm trying to think of where Solana would be. If we see Solana back toward like $27, I'm like, yeah, that's going to be beautiful. Buy some more. But don't take profit on what you've been making right now to gamble that, because again, like I said, there's no guarantees in the trading game. You want to trade with a small portion. If you want to trade with like 10% of your portfolio, if you have one Bitcoin and you're like, you know what, let's take a tenth of a Bitcoin, let's take profit on that, and let's see if I can get a good 30, 40% dip, and then I can turn that into, almost 0.2 Bitcoin. Now I have 1.1 Bitcoin. Make that play. Do it. But leave a heavy portion for the ride just in case things happen. And then guess what? Even if we drop down, this is the good thing about cryptocurrency, guys. If you have one Bitcoin right now with $37,000, when we get up to $45,000, you'll still have one Bitcoin. If we drop down to $20,000, you'll still have one Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin gets to $200,000 per coin, then that time, when it's finally time to take some hefty profit in the bull market and regroup and wait for the bear market to load up more, or maybe buy a house that you've been looking to buy, or pay off bills that you need to get paid off, then you have a lot of money to do it with, right? But don't try to play that game right now. Maybe if you've been doing it for years, you know what you're doing, but especially if you've only been in this for a year or two, if you're trying to learn the game of trading, trade with a very small percentage of your portfolio. That's the first thing. The second mistake that I would say please avoid, and maybe you guys have heard this one before, but set stop losses when you trade. The temptation to think, I don't need a stop loss, I can risk it. That stop loss could just time me out. I don't want the price to dip 5%, and then I get lost, and then we lose my money. Don't think that way. Trading is risky. Trading is borderline gambling, guys. It's educated gambling because you have some data points that you can go on. It's not like this random thing, but you are always playing with, you're always risking. When you have a trade entered, you're always risking. And that's why it's called risk management. You set your stop loss. You never want to lose more than X percentage. For every person, that's different. I recommend for most new people, you never want to lose really much more than 5 to 10% of your trade. Set that stop loss. Take the L. If you did the charting wrong and you go to that stop loss, that's fine. Guess what? If you thought you were bullish before and then your stop loss comes out, there's probably a good buying opportunity coming very soon that you can still get back into a trade. But don't let it ride. Don't leave yourself open-ended on the back end, and then instead of getting like a 20, 30% profit, you end up losing your entire trading portfolio, or half of it, and by that time it's too late. Don't do it. Please use stop losses responsibly. The third one is be responsible with your take profits. When you set up your chart, when you set up your prediction, let's say you do it, a classic 5-10, 5% risk, 10% profit. Do not just let it ride. Just because the price shoots above your 10%, don't say to yourself, let me just stay in here for a little bit longer. Let me just see how much higher I can get here. Because at that point, you're off the grid. You're off the plan. What was the plan at this point? Now, when do I take profit? When is it good enough? Because as that price continues to climb, you will always say, I can just go a little more, a little more, a little more. And then the price starts to come down, but you convince yourself, maybe it's just a retracement. I need to stay in here because the profit. I have seen way too many times where I've seen people, the price hits their take profit original, but they don't take it. They decide to keep playing the game, but they have no plan for exit after that point. And then before it's too late, they end up getting stopped out. They lose the money when they could have taken profit. Don't get greedy. Stick to your plan. Take your profit. It's trading. You use a small portfolio. Take the small gains and then regroup and look for another trade, whether it's in that same asset or in a different asset. But take your wins because you'll never lose taking profits. If you have a massive portfolio, that would suck. If I'm trading my entire portfolio and I go up 10% and then the price keeps shooting up 50%, that sucks. I could have made a lot of money. But if I'm only trading with 10% of my portfolio, all right, that's cool. But guess what? My 90% I was just holding, that's still rocking. That's still picking up all of those gains. So I'm not too worried. I'm not upset that I missed out on potential profit. Those are the mistakes you guys really need to avoid. There's so many more, but I'm going to stick with it for now on those videos. In future videos, I'll do some more mistakes. But, guys, those are the 3 big mistakes. A, do not trade with a hefty portion of your portfolio. Number 2, set up your stop loss and stick to it. And number 3, set up your take profit and stick to it. Take the W and get out and regroup for the next trade. Guys, I love you. I'll see you in the next video. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're new here. And I'll see you in the next video.